Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Dadcast. I am your host, JP. Joining me as always, co-host Nick Martin. He's right down there. How are you, Nick?
Actually, I'm right up there. What up?
Oh, well, not on my screen and not the screen that's going to appear in the YouTube. But hey, it's good to see you and your hair.
Yeah, I know. It's coming back. It's pretty soon, about 2 weeks, I'll look like you.
Oh, wow. Okay. So we have a a couple weeks. That grows really, really fast.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there. So check it out, y'all. So for all of our friends locally here in Southern Oregon, we have a treat for you. We are welcoming to the show, which I do believe is going to be, and if it isn't, I'm calling it now, the season 4 premiere is this guy coming up. He's a dad. He's an old friend. He is famous in Southern Oregon for being a radio DJ. He left us a couple years ago and is doing his thing out in the land of cheese, I believe. And welcome to Dadcast, Mr. Mike Kincaid. What's up, brother?
What's up? My gosh. Well, greetings from the land of cheese, the beautiful state of Wisconsin. How are you guys?
I'm good. I'm glad I got that correct. I was like, uh-oh.
I saw you struggling. I was like, well, he says, anything but Illinois, I'm cool.
Right.
But,
So how are you?
Ask you if you're still producing or putting out CDs like you did with Bowling for Soup.
Okay. There you go. You can't even quote my error correctly. Nick, I asked if they're still doing music.
Yeah, I suck. I'm sorry.
Well, I suck worse for that one. But Mike Kincaid, man, you and I, we go way back. We're talking at least, 16, 17 years now. Before we get right. Before we get any further, let's do the rite of passage. I always have to ask this question. It usually is a foregone conclusion, but it's part of the ritual that is Dadcast. Mike Kincaid, are you a dad?
And then some.
How many kids you got? Their names? How old are they? Boys, girls, or in this day and age, are they neither?
Well, I've got 4 of them. They're all girls. Oh boy, let's see if I can do this rapid fire. 30, 29, 22, and 16.
Dear God.
So there we go.
Your oldest is 30 years old. What did you have kids when you were like 6?
A little bit older than that, my friend.
Well, you're looking good for being, just over 40.
Okay. I'm just going to let that lie because I like the way it sounds.
Okay, we dig it. So, Mike, tell us, for everyone who's watching this episode and doesn't know who you are, tell us a little bit about you, where you're working these days. I notice you're doing your thing from inside a studio, a real studio, mind you.
Yes, correct. That's right. Well, right now, I am Kincaid. I am the program director of Classic Rock WGLX in central Wisconsin. I've been doing this here for 5 years now. 5 years. Can you believe I have been out here for 5 years?
I know. It's crazy, man.
Yeah. Prior to that, I was program director and on air at the long defunct and greatly missed KZZE in Southern Oregon. I was there for 20 years. While I did that, I also did a lot of work with Talk Radio Network as a producer of nationally syndicated talk radio. And I also had the great honor of doing 4 years producing Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell. So it was a good time there in Southern Oregon, but things change and you move on. And now I'm sailing the seas of cheese.
Sailing the sea of cheese. Oh, a little Primus dig right there. All right. So This is really, really cool because Mike, he is a radio man through and through. I am a radio man through and through. And when I first started my career in radio, which was here in Southern Oregon, I got a late start. I was, my late 20s, early 30s. Mike was the man I looked up to. I mean, he was the guy over at KZZE. He was also the competition for the radio station that I worked for at the time, if that's what you want to call it. And it was really cool for me when it came full circle, because about 5.5 years ago, when you started talking about it and you got the job out in Wisconsin there, you actually called me and asked for my advice because I was the program director at the time at KBOY. And I don't know if I've ever told you that, but that meant such a great deal to me. I mean, that was like, wow, Mike is asking me for advice. This is the guy that I came to and always looked up to and wanted to be like and popular as here in Southern Oregon radio. So that was a really cool moment for me, man.
Well, that's cool. And, look, hey, I was going to go looking for any type of insight because, I hadn't done classic rock. I had been active rock my entire career. I was current rock. And so now here I am being, gratefully thrown into the world of classic rock. And so I wanted to get your take as a younger guy in that genre, where you were coming from, because I want to be young like you.
But I'm not that much younger than you, man. I mean, I'm going to say we got a 5-6 year gap at most, maybe a little bit more, but I don't think so. Let's just drop it. Yeah, how old are you?
Okay. I'll be 52 this year.
52. So there it is. 6 year gap. Mm-hmm. There you go. Actually 5.5 to make it better. So there you go. We're bred from the same cloth here. Mm-hmm. How, as a radio guy, is it for you from saying K at the beginning of everything to now dropping a W? Did that take some getting used to?
Literally 3 weeks ago. Weeks ago, I cracked the mic and said Southern Oregon's best rock.
Right.
And had to stop and laugh at myself and go, well, old habits still die hard, and then correct myself and move on. But yeah, so that was 3 weeks ago.
So the answer to the question is yes, it's still difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, not only that, but there's an extra syllable with the W. You have to.
Right.
Yeah, and you have to say it right. You can't say W. You got to say W because everyone will come at you if you don't say it the right way. So.
Well, that's news. If I ever start working, east of the Mississippi, I'll take that advice into account. Mm-hmm. So your kids are pretty much all grown. Well, not pretty much. They are all grown.
For the most part. Got three of them out of the house, grown up. They're all doing their own thing. And then I've got a freshman in high school at home still.
How was that when you moved and left what, was your home for pretty much most of your life to start this new venture and being away from your kids? I mean, I can only imagine that's difficult, but personally for you, how did that go?
It was difficult, still is difficult, even to this day. It's difficult, not being able to, now granted, they were grown up and all of them either living in Portland or Seattle anyway. Right. So, with me being in Southern Oregon, we were already separated a little bit, but, in an emergency or just on a whim, it's either a 4 or an 8 hour drive to see them, and you hop in the car and you go. Well, obviously that's not the case now. What is it? 2,600 miles now. And so it's difficult, but, with mediums like this, where I can sit and talk with them, on a little video screen as much as, they will allow me. It's good. We stay connected, through technology. They've been out to visit a few times. I've been back once. I've been back to the West Coast only once since we've been out here. But I will be back next June for daughter 3's wedding. So, yeah, how about that? Is finally going to get one of them married off.
I hope the dowry's good, man. You get a couple chickens or cows out of the deal.
Right. Well, there's plenty of cows around here. I don't need any cows, but a chicken or two might be all right.
Is Kincaid a grandpa yet?
Nope.
Are you looking forward to that happening? Because I'm
not sure yet. I'm still not sure. I literally vacillate back and forth from clock's ticking, ladies,
right,
to I'm still too young to be a grandfather. I don't see myself in that role yet, especially with the great distance between us. But, when and if it happens, I'll just roll with the punches and it'll be fun. I guess. I hope. We'll see. I don't know. I've never been a grandfather.
Right. I think it's probably all the benefits of being a dad, except you get to give them back. at the end of the
Right.
day.
like all the memes, man. You cram them full of sugar and send them home.
And see you later. So, Nick, I have a question actually for you. When was your first meeting with Mike? Because I'm assuming it was concert promoting, but
it was concert promoting. It was probably around the same time I met you. It was probably some big rock concert. I probably hit both of you up, and yeah, I know Mike's done a bunch of stuff. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah,
I can't even remember. I know you guys helped out with OTEP when I brought OTEP in.
That was probably the very first time.
That was probably the first one.
And then I think Trapped was right after that.
Yeah.
Am I right about that?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, shoot. And that OTEP show, I mean, that was 97?
No. That was early 2000s. That was
early 2000s? Okay.
Yeah, that would have been, I want to say like 2006, 2007.
Yeah, that was right about.
It was when my buddy Chase joined the band. He was their drummer at the time.
That's right. Yep.
So, yeah. And it was like, it was first time back home in like 10 years. So
I remember that.
It was kind of, yeah, it was it was a good show.
I was pretty lit. I actually dove off the stage, which got me in some trouble. So, yeah.
Jeez, a rock and roll DJ getting in trouble. Oh,
right.
Yeah. Right.
I can't.
A bad example.
I can't tell you how many times I got in trouble. I was actually having a talk with Nick recently about the success that we're seeing here in Dadcast. Everything good, man? We good?
Well, I'm just watching. I'm watching my studio, making sure I'm not off the air.
Right. Well, exactly. So for everyone not realizing, Mike is in studio right now. Excuse me, Kincaid. He is in studio right now during his shift on the show. So if at any point in time he just breaks off from us, he is doing a show for the most part. So I just forewarned. Gosh, where the hell was I? Oh, getting in trouble. And I was telling Nick about with the success of Dadcast, how when I first started doing radio, we're talking, gosh, my first 6 months to a year, I let it really get to my head. I thought I was much cooler than I really was. And it wasn't a good thing. It led to actually me losing a job for the first time, for one of the many other reasons, but that was a big detrimental factor in the fact that, I was a stupid, cocky idiot and let it get to my head. And I was telling him, now that we're seeing success with Dadcast, you do not have to worry any of that at all with me now, because I learned my lesson back in the day. I am quite humbler now that I'm a father, and if anyone is going to let it get to their head, it's going to be Nick, and that's perfectly okay.
That's right.
Did you have the same problem when you first started working radio, Mike?
Yes.
I think we all did, right?
Well, there is a certain amount of, I don't want to say power, but there's an amount of gravitas that you realize that you have when you are speaking to the masses and they're responding. And if they're responding in a good way, all that does is it just kind of snowballs. And it was, who took me aside and kind of, took me behind the woodshed, so to speak, was the late, great Marty McGuire.
Right.
And he let me know in no uncertain terms that, no matter how popular, my show might be, I could always be replaced and the show would stay there.
Yep.
And that kind of, brought me back down to earth. So.
Yeah, it took a lot more than that for me. I was given that talk and I don't know, maybe it's a Sagittarius, Irish, redhead, crazy, rambunctious in me. But I think what really did it for me was when I became a father. Everything shifted. It no longer was anything or everything about me. It was about that little boy that just came into my life, and I better get my shit together, period, because it's not about me. It is about him. And 180 degrees, and I haven't looked back since. And look at me now. I'm in $1 million studio. It's a beautiful thing.
That's right. You're killing it, JP. I'm gonna say the same thing though too. Like I think as however big we get, my mindset is we're doing this for our families. It's not for me. I could care less I'm lying. I like it when people say, "Hey, it's Nick from Dadcast." That's cool. but for the most part, it's for our families. I want to buy a house for my family, a bigger house they're comfortable in. I want a Tesla. And I just want to be comfortable. I want to pay my bills and not have to worry about working a regular job. And that's what it is for me. It's not, just I could care less about the people.
Not to be that guy to one up you, but Mike, I just want to show you something real quick. I'm just going to give you a peek over here.
You are that guy, JP. You did it with the Dadcast shirt first.
There it is. Look, Mike, look at that.
Oh, yeah. What am I looking at? I see a car somewhere.
That is the front end of my Tesla.
You got yourself a Tesla, did you?
Finally.
Wow. That's pretty damn cool.
Been working real hard for that. In fact, I made a post this morning. Nothing's free, man. You gotta if you work hard and the good things come to you. I teach my kids that daily. How's Cricket, man? Is she there? Is she in the building right now?
She is not in the building. She'll be in the building later because she'll hit the air just as soon as I walk out of here tonight. So
it must be good that the husband is the program director.
Yeah, right. Well, you know what? It has its ups and downs. Because how do I put this?
Remember, everyone's going to see this.
Right. It has its ups and downs. I'm just going to put it that way. Listen, Cricket's one of the best DJs I have ever heard in my life. And when she was working across town, I heard her and I said, I covet that voice for my station. This is even before I thought about dating her. I want her on my station. And, started kind of the machinations started, and, got her and, was proven right. Shoot, she's killing in the ratings and, is doing her thing at night, like I say, right after me. And it's a good time.
That's awesome, man. I miss hearing that voice out here too. I miss both of you guys terribly. It's
radio is not the same anymore.
Now I know it. I can at any point whip this sumbitch out and pop on the station because you're streaming. So that's no excuse. That's right. But there's still something comforting knowing that you were just down the street.
Mm-hmm. It's a little different, I admit. I've listened to some of the stations in Southern Oregon, and it's a little different. That's all I can say about it.
It's considerably. Oh, I'm not afraid to say more than it's different. It's crap. That's what it is. I ain't scared.
I listened to one particular station there in Southern Oregon just to feel better about how terrible it sounded. So
yeah, but it's hard. It's hard for us to it's apples to apples. You can't compare what was to what is now because it's a completely separate entity.
Right.
Etc. How was by the way, we tend to go off the rails on this podcast almost every single episode. We try to talk dads and our kids as much as we can, but so it's okay if we go off the rails here, which we have done so already, but I'm going to try to reel it back in just a tad and talk about your kids. One, getting married, right? The youngest still in the house. She is your stepdaughter, correct? Okay. Mm-hmm. And I am a stepdad as well to my oldest, 16. So we're right in the same ballpark. How old is she?
16. Or she'll be 16 this year.
Have you had any difficulties as far as the attitude and the teenager? And if so, how do you as a father deal with that? Because we look for different bits of advice.
Okay, well, first of all, let me say, the youngest is a great kid.
Yeah,
she
of course.
She is no trouble whatsoever. My three oldest kids, I had, 3 times over, I've had the practice of going through the teens.
Yeah.
It's different this time around. And I don't know if it's the step thing. I don't think of myself as her stepfather. She's known me for most of her life now. I've been her pop for, most of her life now.
Yeah.
So, but it's different. And I think I put a lot of that on technology. I put a lot of that on, everybody's got their phone in their face or their face in their phone. And the amount of real meaningful communication between myself and her is less than I would hope for. I mean, if I'm being honest.
Right.
And we can chalk it up to sullen teens, and they all are at certain times. But, hey, how was your day?
Yeah, exactly.
And I know at that point, there's really no point in even digging any further. It's like, all right, fine, moving on, So, and again, I don't know how much of that has to do with, being a step parent, because this is the first time I've done it.
Right.
So, and hopefully the last. So it's a challenge every day. Being a dad, especially I'm 4 girls, 4 of them. It's a challenge, and I know boys, I have friends who have boys who just pull their hair out. And I was a boy at one time. I saw my parents pull their hair out. So I get it, but girls are, everyone wants to raise daddy's little girl and everything to be perfect, but it ain't always going to be that way. And what are you going to do? You don't know until you get there.
Right. I'm going through it for the first time myself. She's 16, and it's difficult. It really is navigating, because you got to treat this one a little bit differently depending on the situation that's at hand right now. And then you've got the boy, in my case, who's 10 years old, who, just throw him in front of an Xbox. We're good. And then baby girl, 8, you have to navigate each of them individually and different. And I can't even imagine how it was, like you just said, for you, going back to pre-internet, no social media, to now where, again, they're just got that phone stuck right in there. And I want to have that communication, but at the same time, you don't want to press, because then they get annoyed, and then who knows, it spouts off. Yeah, difficult, man. But hey, I wouldn't have it any other way. It's a whole hell of a lot better than, not having that difficulty, I think.
I think you're right. And you know what? I think I'd rather be raising a kid who is tech savvy and who is learning the dangers of the, tech world, as opposed to, 3 generations ago, where you're teaching, your teenager about the dangers of, going to war or whatever, I guess, we're still pretty lucky, I think. Knock on wood.
I'll knock on 2. Nick, you might as well make it a threesome. So I'm gonna take a picture of this, of what's happening right now for our socials. Speak of the devil.
Okay.
And this is the beautiful thing about a podcast. Mike, have you thought about, or do you have a podcast?
It takes enough of my time just to run a radio station.
Oh, I know.
And because I'm old, like I said in our interview, when I interviewed you guys on my show, I'm an old guy and I don't quite get it yet, and I don't know that I want to go through, the work of trying to make it happen. When things first ended in Southern Oregon, when my radio career ended in Southern Oregon, I put together a podcast. I wanted to keep my chops, tight.
Yep.
And so I put together a podcast, and it was called Over the Edge. And it was, right. It was talking metal, playing metal. And this was before, everybody was getting shut down for playing music on streams.
Right.
And so, I did that, and it was fine, but I didn't understand even then how to grow an audience, how to monetize it, if I even wanted to do that. Those were things that I didn't get. All I wanted to do was just, keep my pipes moving, and these pipes, draw pipes. And so that's all I did it for. And now They're everywhere.
Yep.
Like I said in our interview on my show, which is airing right now as we're doing Dadception here.
Ooh, you should turn it up real quick. Is it actually playing as we speak?
Let me see. It's coming up in about 10 minutes or so.
All right. You got to crank it up then. That's going to be an inception.
But yeah, and you got to have something that is marketable and that people want to pay attention to, that they actually want to take time out of. Radio is just a constant companion. It's there whenever you want it. Yep. It's always there. A podcast, you have to, do a little work to grab it and then take the time to listen to it. I do have a few that I listen to. I like Matthew McConaughey. All
right.
Yeah, check him out. Also Jim Rome, also Jim Brewer. Those are podcasts that and you guys, of course, that I have been checking out. But at the same time, again, I find it hard finding time to make time. And so I'm not interested yet, even though all the radio trades and everything say you got to be doing a podcast. You got to have some sort of companion.
Yeah.
I'm not buying into that just yet, especially in this format where, a lot of my listeners, my age, maybe, quite a few of them older, resisting technology. I'm not there yet.
I feel that that's a little bit of what's happening with you right now. You're just, you may be resistant, and that's fine. Not everyone's has to do a podcast or anything like that. But do you stream like bits or excerpts when you're in studio of your show? Like a live stream or anything of during your show? Because that is literally a smidgen of a podcast.
Yeah, we have done that. Those are usually like grand prize giveaways.
Yeah.
Things like that. Otherwise, I really, really, really prefer to just let the music do the talking over the airwaves or on the stream or on the smart speaker or on the app. I'll tell you, one of the things when I first got here and really tried to embrace classic rock, my very first inclination was that I wanted to turn this station into an exact replica or a mirror of just an AOR rock station from the 80s. That was what I wanted to do with it, and that's what I've done with it, and it's been a huge success. Thankfully, luckily, thank you, Jesus. It's worked out doing that. And so, the time will come, I'm sure, but ain't going to be within the next few months. That's for sure.
Awesome. Okay. Well, it's not for everyone, and you're not kidding either. With the plate being full, Nick, I've since left the terrestrial radio about a year ago, which you're aware of, but I've been doing my own thing. I built the pirate radio and the streaming. And when it's a one-man show and I've got to traffic, program, manage, sell, and do everything, and then Nick comes at me and says, "You want to do a podcast?" I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but here we are. We are committed and it's successful. And I'm glad I decided to say yes, because
I'm glad you said yes.
I'm not going to lie, man. It's almost a break from radio, but you still get to have this microphone right in front of your face still. Right now I'm hanging out with an old friend and we're talking shop, and it's and it's successful and people enjoy it. Of course, talking shop and the importance of being a dad and all the things that come along with it. But, and you weren't kidding, you need to have a thing. You can't just start a podcast. I'm going to start a podcast. Okay. About what? I don't know. Well, you better know before you start doing that adventure, but yeah, man. So maybe one day.
I want to circle back.
Yeah.
Can I circle back to something?
Please interview me, Mr. Radio Man.
I've done that already. It's coming up here in about 8 minutes.
Oh, that's right.
No, we were talking earlier about the reasons for getting into radio and the reasons for doing what we're doing, what you're doing. You're doing this, and it's to be successful. And I wanted to challenge just a little bit because, again, there is a certain amount of celebrity that comes with being on the radio. And for a lot of us, for a long time, it wasn't a financially stable or, it didn't pay all the bills for a long time. And when you talk about, having to, I'm old. I lost my train of thought. I was going to say that there was a time back when I was in radio in Southern Oregon, and it was so important to me to be on the radio that it actually ended my first marriage. And
how?
How?
Details.
Oh, I don't want to go into it too much.
Okay, Cliff Note version. You don't have to get crazy. I'm just like the premise. I mean, how did it end your marriage? Was it too much time at work? What? Yeah.
It was too much time at work, too much attention being paid to the station, which my former wife referred to it as my mistress.
Right.
And it was a rock and roll lifestyle she didn't feel was proper for a guy who had 3 little girls at that time.
Yeah.
And, we had our other issues, but really it did come down to either you quit that job or we're done. And I went, bye.
Yeah. And that can almost be said about any career that someone's passionate about, and especially as us as a dad, as fathers, it's a constant pickle. It's a constant battle. I need to support you, my family, but in doing so, I need to be away from you to do that supporting. Now, whether it's 40 hours a week or 60 or 80 hours a week, sometimes in radio when you're doing stuff, I mean, yes, it can get a little out of hand, but there needs to be that balance. And thankfully, my partner, my lady, was always understanding of that. You're JP, she met me when I was doing my thing and knew that was the lifestyle. So she accepted it right off the bat. And even during, that there was always, do you have to go this? Do you got to go do this remote on a Saturday? Why do you got to go? But that's just a job. So she understood that. But I still fought it all the time because I don't want to be away from my kids at this pivotal age. But to be successful and to support the family, you got to sometimes. So, yeah.
Well, and you're right. Radio's an interesting gig, and when once I was on the market again, so to speak, I knew in my head that I was going to get someone who got it, who understood radio. That was prime in my mind that my next partner was going to get radio. And thank God, thank you, Jesus. That's the way it worked out.
You hit the friggin' lottery jackpot when it comes to that then.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
Your at one point girlfriend, fiance, now wife is a radio gal through and through. Like you said, she's on the air after you. So, and heck, that's actually a beautiful thing. You can still spend time together at work, although that could be difficult sometimes. But good job on that one, man. I still remember it.
Accomplished.
I still remember that Edge Fest, man, where you got down on that knee.
Oh yeah, that was something, wasn't it?
I never seen Kincaid so nervous wreck in my life, but it worked out well for you, man.
Yeah, well, I kind of figured she'd say yes, but
that helps.
Yeah, that helped. But the placement of it in front of pretty much all of our friends, where if it did go south, I was going to have to pack up and leave town.
Or at least that night. It worked out. You're going to hand off to, the rest of the show is going to be, I don't know, how about Grant Heidi. There you go. I just dropped a Grant bomb right there. Now I got to tag him in this video so he sees it.
Well, good deal.
Nick, what you got, man? Come on.
I'm enjoying this. 2 guys I've known for a long time, radio talk, and just letting you guys have at it.
Oh, it's crazy. How, I don't want to incriminate, but are you actually the program director? And I know your title is, but are you actually, does management interfere or do you get to program? That's what I want to ask. Do you have free reign to program that station there?
I'll tell you a story. When I first got here, again, it's a classic rock station. When I first got here, they had, and again, we're diving deep into the weeds here in terms of industry talk.
Yes.
But they had 250 songs in rotation.
What?
And I went, no way. When I was offered this gig, I was promised complete creative control.
Okay.
And so that was something that was very important to me when I was looking for a new gig. And that's really kind of one of the main reasons that I decided to pack up my family and come here, was because, I was offered complete creative control to remake this station into something viable.
Right.
And so I instantly, as soon as I got here, added almost 800 songs to the playlist. And so now 1,000-song playlist. Well, let's say it's 900, because there was a bunch of stuff that really wasn't classic rock that just needed to go.
Yeah.
And, be heard on a classic hit station.
And any consultant will now tell you, oh my gosh, that's just too much music. No. More the better. God,
Yeah. Here's the thing. So I did that, and the immediate response from the listening audience was fantastic. It was great. I could not get enough phone calls and emails about how everyone was so thrilled that I was playing all the, deep cuts and
right.
All this stuff. And then I got my first ratings book back. And it wasn't nearly as good as I had hoped it would be. And that was really kind of a shot to the ego. And I got some good counsel from some folks who had been doing this for a long time. Folks who are my superiors here, who went, yeah, you got to cut that playlist back down. And I resisted, but I went ahead and I cut it in half. So
you're rocking 500.
500, and I'd say right now it probably hovers around 600. But right around there, everything kind of started to take off. And so I learned a lesson there. There is such a thing as too much of a good thing, I guess. But I do have complete creative control, but I am willing to listen to voices of reason, especially when they come at me with facts and figures and numbers and studies and all this kind of stuff that, I couldn't argue with the numbers. Yeah, I couldn't argue with it. And so I was fortunate enough that, a compromise was made, like I say, and now I've, shown that this is probably, a better way to go. As far as classic rock goes, a bigger playlist is good, but a huge one is not.
Yeah. It's with what I'm doing now. I've had to unlearn everything I learned in radio because I reach Pirate Radio. And last I checked this morning, was like over 100,000 people worldwide. And so that's a really, really good number, but I'm still fighting that whole stigma of streaming. People, well, how do I listen to it in my car? I can't go to, turn the dial. I'm like, do you have one of these? Well, yeah, I listen through my phone in the car all the time anyway. Then what's the problem? Then you simply push play on the app and you're good to go, easy peasy. But I did the same thing. I had about 500 songs in there because that's what I learned and what all the consultants said to do. And then I went, you know what, screw this. And I dumped like 1,000 more songs in because I am under no rule. I do not have to stay in any particular lane. If I want to be classic rock all day one day, I can be. If I want to be all reggae the next day, I can be. Now, there can be arguments for and against both, but I've got it down now to about 885 songs, which is a nice mix that fits the package that is pirate radio consistently. And it's only grown and grown and grown. And if ever I'm back in terrestrial radio, we'll go that route. But I have to tell you something. It is so nice, Mike, being not anyone telling you you're doing it right or wrong and to do this or that. I'm learning as I go. And so far, so good. It's breath of fresh air, man. Being your own boss when you're doing it. And I like to think most of the time I'm right. Sometimes I'm not, it happens. Like, for example, what was the song that we played the other day? I can't even think of what it was, but it did not belong there. I don't even know how it slipped through the cracks, but right then and there, I didn't have to ask anyone. I didn't tell anyone. I just gone. See you later. No questions asked. Easy peasy. But good. I'm glad you have creative control there, man. That is awesome. That's not something I was afforded at my last gig as a program director. That was like my title, and that was it.
Yeah. Now, look, it all falls on me here. So
I have a question. Do you play Aerosmith Big 10-inch? Is that in your list? Yes.
Absolutely. Now, it's a deep track, and maybe it hits the airwaves once every couple of weeks.
But bottom line, it is there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I almost got fired because that song was being played.
You back that up with AC/DC's Big Balls, and you're off and running.
What was really the effery involved in this scenario, though, was that particular song was in the playlist from the previous program director that I didn't even touch. So it came down. What are you playing that for? What are you talking about, man? Oh, anyway, we're not gonna go down that path. Loved my time there. Love everyone who worked there. Just politics, man, sometimes gets to you.
Radio's a crazy business, and let's not kid ourselves. It's cutthroat.
Oh yeah,
and so
congratulations on still being there 5 friggin' years and successful. And we all know if it's a book you're getting, it ain't accurate. Whether it's the best book in the world or the worst book the next time, come on, it's just a little slice of the population.
Yes, that is right.
We can switch gears here. Are you a Packer fan now?
Nope.
How's the community feeling with this whole Aaron Rodgers hoopla going on?
Jiminy Christmas.
What's the vibe in Wisconsin?
Here's what I'll tell you. The Packers, even before I left Southern Oregon, before I left the West Coast, they were my second favorite team. This was just a fringe benefit coming here. Still Seattle teams are my teams. I enjoy watching the Packers. All the Packers fans that I know here, which is everybody.
Yeah.
They couldn't give a shit. Everything's going to be fine.
Right.
And like the man himself said, relax. Everything's going to be fine. So it's not like the walls are on fire around here. It's just the way it is. It's fun to watch, especially as an outside spectator. I'm looking forward to going to see my first game at Lambeau this year.
You've been there 6 years and you haven't gone to a game yet?
You know how hard it is to get into Lambeau?
Virtual slap. Come on, man. You're Kincaid, the PD of a classic rock station. You know as well as I do, with just a little bit of pushing, you could have got yourself into a game. Hell, send a sales guy out to sell a package.
Again, you know how hard it is to get into Lambeau?
I don't. It's
not easy. And so, but yes, going to see the Seahawks when they come to town.
Oh, that's exciting.
In November. So, yes. So that's going to be fantastic. So I'm going to be wearing the blue and green and standing out like a sore thumb. It's going to be great. I can't wait.
I hope, I really hope Aaron Rodgers suits up for this season and then see you later after this season or he could go to the Raiders and I'd have no problem with that either. That's one of his choices, isn't it? Yeah, but come on, man. We got a quarterback who ain't bad. He's actually pretty decent. And here we go, Nick, talking sports again.
I know.
He's not.
Here's the one that I'll throw out. I know we're talking sports. This is the one scenario that I would love to see, and that is a straight across trade Wilson for Rodgers. Yeah, I'd be okay with that. That'd be totally fine with me.
I think, and I think both organizations would lose
their minds.
Yeah. But again, if I was a Seattle fan, I wouldn't have a problem with that. If I was a Green Bay fan, I'd be like, a little butthurt, but we got Russell Wilson. Okay. Yeah. But it'll never happen.
It's never going to happen. They're both staying right where they are, and both are going to have great seasons again this year.
Oh, are you in a book right now?
Yes.
What are you giving away? Is our interview happening yet?
You know what?
We missed it, didn't we?
So we just missed the first segment. We got talking sports,
Yeah, I know, right?
Set an alarm. The next one's coming up in about 5.5. How about that?
Perfect.
All right.
So what are you? What's the big giveaway?
We're giving away 2. Let me do this right. We're giving away 2 all-inclusive trips to the sunny beaches of Mexico. So,
all-inclusive. Does that include the brown water?
Well, yeah, it's all-inclusive, man. I mean, we're taking care of all of it. We're taking care of the round-trip flight, the stay at a Ryu resort, and 4 days, 3 nights, food, drink, accommodations, travel there. So that's what we're doing. We're doing 2 of those.
That's a good prize, especially, when's the draw date, man? When is this thing? Is it close to winter? Because that's when, where you're at, that sounds really good going to Mexico in the winter.
Right. And you got up to a year to use it too. So, but no, it's, I'm giving away the first one on Friday. And then we're starting all over and going for 4 more weeks for the second one.
Okay. So. And because I'm a radio guy and I'm curious as to how you do it, and I'm sure everyone who's watching this is probably like, we don't care, but I care. And we're going to ask the question anyway. How do you qualify and how do you win this thing? How are you executing this giveaway?
When you hear the cue to call, be caller 13 and you're qualified.
Cue to call.
I mean, we're doing that. Hey, that's old school. And that's what and we also have an online qualifying component as well. So 2 chances to qualify. You can sign up online or you can be caller 13 when you hear the little sound.
And what is the cue? What is the sound?
It's some tropical Mexican music with our big voice guy saying, call now.
All right. Good. All right. Dialing in. I'm just getting ideas for Pirate. We, not that I need them.
And we're also, we're wrapping up, we're giving away $1,500 cash too. Which we've kind of couched as, it's called Rock the Region, and we're kind of couching it as here's $1,500 to go do something in Wisconsin. Go support local businesses. Go away for a week. Go to Green Bay for a weekend. Go to La Crosse. Go to Madison. Go to Milwaukee. Here's $1,500. Go do something in Wisconsin, and we're wrapping that up. Qualifying for that ends on Monday too.
Okay, how many '90s music tunes are in your playlist? Let me rephrase. Are there 90s tunes in the playlist?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm assuming all the early 90s grunge.
Yep, between 70 and 100 probably. Hey, look, this is one thing too that, in the world of classic rock, the window of the music that we play has to continually be moving forward.
Yeah.
And so when I got here, there was no 90s music at all in the playlist. And so I was literally introducing folks in Wisconsin to, Alice in Chains. And I mean, not really, but you know what I mean? The classic rock listeners of this station.
Did they lose their friggin' minds when Smells Like Teen Spirit came on?
No, not for the most part.
Okay, good.
I've got some folks who really can't stand it and they let me know, and that's fine. But for the most part, look, it's classic rock. The audience is eventually going to die. So if we don't move the window forward and gain a younger audience,
I hear you. No, preaching to the choir, brother.
Going to die too.
I hear you. I was the one thing I regret is the rule of thumb that I had was if it's 20 years old or older, you qualify. Now, obviously the music has to be good, but that means if that rock and roll song came out in 2001, it's considered classic rock. You feel old now yet, Nick?
Yeah, that puts Linkin Park in there.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, and my rule is 25 years.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good. Yeah. That's close. But yeah, that's so I put some of that in, and guess what? No. Not anymore. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah, no, my rule is 25 years with a few exceptions. I mean, Foo Fighters, you have to make an exception for them because they're just so damn good. It's Everybody else is playing them, so why not me? You know?
How do you navigate this conundrum? AC/DC, Back in Black, the penultimate classic rock song. But AC/DC just put out a brand new album, and their song goes top 10 rock and roll. Do you play it?
Absolutely.
Do you put it in rotation?
Do I throw it in rotation? No.
Okay.
It does not get put into the system and just start playing every few days. But I mean, industry term, awareness spins. You let people know that, AC/DC's got a new song out, or any other band. Who else? Styx just put out a new song that is just mind-blowingly good. And it's not going to get airplay anywhere.
I know.
Unless someone like me says, hey, I'm going to play the new Styx song a few times, just so people are aware of it.
You know what I did about a year before I left KBOY? I didn't ask. I probably should have, but I got away with it. Tallboy played on KBOY.
Well, hey, they're local legends.
Exactly. That's why I could get away with it. You want to promote local? You want to do this thing? Well, Papa's going to do it right.
Exactly.
I mean, there isn't anybody else there who was going to play them. So, fill that niche.
The Rogue could have and should have, but they just didn't have the balls to.
Oh, are they still there? I'm sorry. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. It's just the Jock's on there. I love you, Brian O'Connor. Don't get me wrong. But it's just, robots, track, get the hell out of Dodge.
Mm-hmm.
That was too much. That was, this is. Oh, here we go.
Came in with some good people, some connections. He gets to name drop. And, well, it started off with Ben Carey, Brian Hopkins from Elvis Monroe. Right. So that led into Randy Couture. You're talking about MMA superstar Randy Couture. Yes. Yeah. The Expendables, movie star, Hollywood. Yeah.
All right. So, yes, you guys are getting airplay on Wisconsin radio on a 100,000 watt flamethrower that reaches from border to border.
You hear that?
That's awesome.
Dadcast being interviewed by Kincaid while Dadcast is interviewing Kincaid while it happens 5 weeks from now, but right now for you watching.
Some real Matrix shit going on
man.
here.
So with the kids growing up, I'm going back to the children. And I don't want to get too personal I'm going back to the whole left the lady and the children. When that happened, was there animosity involved? Did you still get to be with the kids? Did they go far away? I mean, how did that all work out?
Well, not to delve too far into the past. Youngest went with mom to go live in Seattle.
Okay.
And the two oldest stayed with me so they could finish high school. So, and then as soon as they were done with high school, they, went off on their merry ways, and that meant heading north to either Portland or Seattle.
So you got to keep, and by keep, you were with your oldest too after all that went down, and you still worked in radio. But you were still there for them and still a great dad. I know this because I see how those kids treat you. I see their Facebook pages. I see when you have events and whatnot going on. You did it right, man. It looks like you did one heck of a job, and it all seemed to work out. It all seemed to work out, even with your passion and your dad and the balance that was needed, whether it was teeter-tottery here and there. It's still, as you look back on it, it worked out for you, man.
It worked out. I lucked out. I could have done a lot better when it came to being a parent.
Can't we all?
I still could do better. And as long as that's always in the back of my head, well, then hopefully I'll, keep trying to be better.
Words to live by. You hear that, Nick?
I do.
No, he's like, why are you asking that? Here, Mike, you ready for this? You ready for this bombshell?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's up?
Far as we know, Nick is pregnant right now. Well, that's literally him.
Not me, technically.
The two.
Wow.
And there could be 6 of them in there.
No, there could be 4.
4.
Not
Oh.
6.
Oh, you're talking about quadruplets?
Yeah. Yeah. So my wife and I did IVF. We just did an embryo transfer. We transferred 2 embryos, which could technically break off and make 4 babies.
wow, that's exciting and scary as fuck.
It is.
Finally, somebody dropped the F-bomb.
And it wasn't you, Nick. That's all right. Isn't it fun to say the F word when you're allowed to?
Did you see me turn and look at my mic?
Of course.
When I said it?
It's bred in us. It's like, are we on?
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Yep.
But yeah, no. So we're super excited for that. That's going to be a journey.
Yeah, I think we find out Saturday. We do the blood test, and then we should have an answer next week if it took and we're good to go, or if we're what's going on. So
or starting over. But yeah, no, that's great news. Wow. All right. Cool. I can't wait to hear.
Yeah. And guess who's going to be super, super busy if all things do work out? You, Nick.
This guy. Hey, guess who's not going to have 2 interviews a week?
This guy. You mean 3 interviews a week?
Oh, yeah, 3. That's right. We did 3 this week. Hey, you can't say no to otherwise. Come on.
Yeah, I can't.
That's kind of bad.
I'm not going to say no to anyone. I just, there's time in July and August and September and October and November and December.
Apparently not, according to JP's busy schedule. I'm going to be gone for a week in July. So.
I am. Well, actually, I'm not. I just told you that, so you didn't book anything, so I could have the week if I needed it.
There's somebody thinking.
Or
that's you being your noggin.
Oh, and Mike, are you ready for this? Oh, for the first time in 20 years, last year, 2020. I didn't have to do a parade. And then guess what? They all get canceled anyway.
Oh, dude, I forgot to tell you, we're doing the Boatnik parade.
Oh, yeah, this Saturday?
Yeah, I entered your Tesla.
Oh, sweet. Well, have fun with that because I'm gone. It's my baby girl's birthday.
That's cool. Take your other car. I'll drive the Tesla.
Dude, I'll take the Tesla at a parade. Absolutely. That'd be fun, actually. But yeah, so 20 years, and this is the first full legit year that I do not have to do a parade. I bitched and complained for years and years and years, Mike, and now I want to do a parade.
I've got one coming up in 2 weeks, and I'm actually excited for it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, a parade. Because, this last year was completely screwed in so many ways. So yeah, I'm really excited to get back out there and drive the WGLX rock rig through
WGLX classic rock. It's
down the streets. Can't wait.
How did your business, and we're almost done here. I just got a couple, like 2 more questions here before we wrap this thing up. How did your station, the building, I would say, navigate COVID?
Oh, well, as best we could, obviously, when the state, of course, we the company, the corporation, the company, followed CDC guidelines. So when the state and the CDC kind of locked down in March of last year, we sent everybody who could work from home. And that meant sending a lot of jocks home with, roadcasters and mics. Right. And everybody broadcasting from home. For 72 days, there were 4 of us in the building. 4 program directors. We were the only ones coming in just to, do our shows and make sure everything was doing what we were supposed to be doing.
Right.
And there was a lot of work on the back end in terms of all these jocks working from home. There was a lot of stuff that we had to do to make sure their shows sounded good and sounded, as professional as it possibly could be when someone's broadcasting from their bedroom. And so that's kind of how we got through it. And then, as things started to lift, as we got through the holidays, we started bringing people back. And then in January and February of this year, 2/3 of the building went down with it, myself included. And it was not fun. It was that was tough times. My go-to phrase was, what was my go-to phrase? It's not going to kill me, but I can see how it could.
Yeah.
You were
one of the ones that hit pretty hard.
They said severe to extreme. I was probably lucky to not be hospitalized.
Okay.
Wrote it out at home. and continue to do my show from home every day and program the station as best I could from home. But it put me down pretty good for about 3 weeks. And then when that negative test came back, I came back to work. Literally, this was February. I am still dealing with side effects, long-term, what do they call them? Long haul effects,
right?
From COVID, which just suck. It's terrible, but it is what it is, and we're just going to keep going.
Was your sense and taste one of the ones affected? Like I hear a lot of?
Nope. Smell. My sense of smell is still messed up. And it's not that it went away. It's that I've got something else in my nose. That's the only way I can describe it. It was first, everything smelled like a just snuffed match. That's all I could compare it to.
I like that smell.
Sulfur and wood.
Right. It
has changed just in the last 3 days, and it's pissing me off to no end. Now it just smells like a dirty ashtray. Everything smells like a dirty ashtray. Everything. I smell it right now here in the studio, in my car, at my house, outside in the open. Everything smells like a dirty ashtray. And it's just one of these, long-term symptoms of COVID that is just weird as hell.
Weird. Well, man, we're glad that you got out of that and are healthy, aside from the ashtray nose.
Yeah, right? The COVID nose.
Before we completely wrap up with Mike Kincaid, east of the Mississippi, I would like you to tell all your friends and fans here in Southern Oregon a little message. Whatever Mike wants to tell them. Now is you're on the spot, my friend.
Well, okay.
Because there's a lot of us out here who miss you.
I really can't. Fans.
I said friends. Okay, your friends.
Yes. To everybody in Southern Oregon, those who I'm still in contact with and those who I'm not, miss your faces. Totally miss hanging out. Totally miss the music. I totally miss being with all of you. Sometimes it hurts really bad. Do I miss Southern Oregon as a whole? Not on your life. Sorry. I watch the news. I don't. But everybody there, I miss your faces so bad. Come out here. It's beautiful here. It's God's country and the people are great.
Boom. Just don't do it in February, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, except for November to when was our last snow this year? It was third week of April. So and we had one snap where we were sitting at about 40 below for a couple of days. So, yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I'll still take Southern Oregon over that.
Something else around here, my friend. We could talk for a whole nother hour about winters in Wisconsin. They are an amazing thing.
Well, we'll slot you in for Kincaid Part 2, and we'll discuss in fact, we'll do it in the wintertime and make you take a camera outside or something and stand outside for 30 seconds in your underwear just to see if you'll do it.
That's a big no. I'll tell you right now.
All right.
I am done stunting, okay? I'm too old for that.
Where can everybody check out your radio station online and stream it?
WGLX.com. That is the place to stream the station 24/7. And if you like, you can pick up the free WGLX app for either your Apple or your Android device, okay? It's there, it's free, and it's pretty nifty.
Yeah, and he sounds just like that on the air, you guys. Not even kidding.
Yeah, that's what I do, man.
Kincaid, thank you so very much for coming on Dadcast, man. It's been a pleasure catching up with you and talking shop, although we probably talked more shop than Dad this time around, but totally okay. Again, thank you, man. You're awesome. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, man.
You guys, I really appreciate the invite. This has been a lot of fun. Much, much success to you guys.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nick, thank you, sir, as always. And to everyone else out there, thank you for watching Dadcast. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you all next week. See you.